Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited that you're here today. We are going to have so much fun. And yeah, I'm really excited for the topics that we're covering today. I'm going to give you a hint. My number one all-time top gift is in the ones that we're discussing today. So I want you to see if you can figure out which one it is, and I'll ask you at the end of it, okay? And yeah, some of you may already know, I may have already told you, yeah, but my top gift is going to be discussed today. Quick housekeeping, a reminder to keep yourselves muted, except when it is your turn to talk. And that simply helps us to maintain the quality of the video, of the audio. The video is fine, the audio for the recording. Make sure that you have plenty of water on hand. We are always moving a lot of energy, and the water just helps to keep the energy flowing. Okay, was there anything else that I needed to announce? I don't think so. So I'm going to post in the group. I'm going to do a poll for a sign up sheet for the demos. Last week and this week, I just kind of reached out intuitively to our demos to ask them to do this for us. But I think I'm going to go ahead and put a poll in the group in the light language intuitive gifts and onto our certification group. Okay, so look for that, and if you would like to be a demo for the next, I guess we have 3 more after this time. If you would like to be the demo, go ahead and sign up for that. And then I'll also include a poll for the upcoming Entourage certification course so that you can be a volunteer to be a demo for that as well. Okay, good to see you, April, and happy to have you here, Angie. Good to see you. Okay, so what I wanted to do was check in with each of you and see if you were able to complete your homework from the first class. I think it was the first class. Maybe it was the second one, the second class. No, maybe it was the first one. All right. So were you able to get through the entire list and identify all of your intuitive gifts? And I don't want to call anybody out, but I do want to help you work through some resistance if we're experiencing any resistance. And so drop that in the chat. And especially if you did not complete it, I want to hear from you if you did not complete it. Lisa was able to get through hers. Good job. Okay. And there's no judgment here. Okay. If you did not complete it, then there's something that we need to address, not just for you, but for other people who are watching the replay and other people who might be joining a little bit later. Okay, Kylie said, I got through it. However, I had a big struggle with the gift of momentum. Let's discuss that. Liza said, yes, I did. There are a few that I'm not sure on the accuracy, but I just went with the answers that I got. Okay. Okay, Rhonda has not yet completed. Okay. So Lisa, Luana, have you completed yours yet? Sean completed hers. Luana finished last week. Good. And Angie, were you able to complete yours? Did you know what? And April as well? And do you know what I'm talking about too? Good. Angie finished last week. Good. April, are you in a place where you can drop that in the chat? I know sometimes people are listening without being able to do that. Okay, I'm going to hold space for you, April, to share when you're in a place where you can do that. Okay. So Rhonda, can you unmute yourself? And thank you for showing up and being brave and saying, yep, I haven't quite finished it, so that we can go through this. You are doing a wonderful service for all the people watching, and I appreciate you. Can you, are you in a place where you can unmute yourself? There we are.
Yes.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about that. What's coming up for you when you think about it?
Well, first of all, a lot of these things I don't have a clue of what some of them are.
Okay.
So that's been a big struggle myself, just trying to figure out what they are.
Okay, so you're being hijacked by your logical mind, right? Your
Yes.
logical mind says, I'm not going to tell you until you let me know what they are, right? I feel like that's a safety thing, that your mind is trying to keep you safe. Okay, so like if you get into something that sounds kind of weird and your brain's like, no, we're not going to receive that. We're not going to accept that. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, not really understanding a meaning for what it is. And yeah.
Okay. Okay, and so is that triggering some old wounding around learning and not being smart? Yeah, okay, so it's triggering that.
Learning, not being smart enough, not being able to hold knowledge in your head.
Okay. Okay. Now a question for you, and this is just me checking in on my learning style to see how it is resonating with you. When I went through it last week and we talked about the Claires and we talked about the People Gifts family, were you able to understand that method of my teaching? Were you able to understand how I was explaining it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. And you still understand now, like if you see a list, you're like, okay, I remember what Shelley said and I understand what that one is.
Yes, but I also have that wrote down on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. If you have the notes and like the cheat sheet that we have, then it's like, oh yeah, that triggers and you remember. So you have learned from the method that I used last week, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's your brain looking at the rest of them saying, I don't know what that is, right?
Right.
Because I haven't taught you yet. And
Yeah, I haven't learned about it yet. Yes.
Right. And so I did that on purpose because we wanted to bypass your brain. Okay, and your brain is like, no, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to bypass me. And so it's not feeling safe for you to do that without knowing. So let me think. I guess we just kind of want to take a look at what doesn't feel safe there. So we're gonna talk. Oh God, I feel like this is a conversation between your brain and your heart. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through this conversation between your brain and your heart. So first of all, I want you to think of your brain and give it kind of close your eyes, imagine your brain, give it a physical representation. It might look like you like maybe with a graduation cap or something, like looking like a student. It could be you looking very smart. It could be a book. It could be I don't know, whatever that looks like for you. That logical brain, I want you to see it in your head. Okay.
Okay.
Good. And then I want you to take a look and invite your heart into this space and do the same thing with your heart. Your heart might look like you, like looking very romantic. It might literally be the shape of a heart, whatever that looks like. Make sure you have a visual representation, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And so first of all, I want your heart to tell your brain, thank you for keeping me safe. Okay, so now your brain feels really proud. Before we continue with this, I just have to share a really quick story. And that's about my dog, Wesley. I was working with an animal communicator, and she was talking with him and he was sharing information, and he told her that it is his job to go outside and bark at the people passing by and get rid of them. Okay, he feels that's his job. He's protecting the family. He's doing his job. And he said that when he does the job, then he gets treats. And we give him treats like good job, right? Well, that's because when he's barking, he only comes in if we shake the treat back. And so we accidentally reinforced that. But this is what's going on with your mind and your heart right now, okay? Is that your mind is Wesley and he's protecting you. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, good. So thank you, brain, for protecting us and keeping us safe. And now your brain is going to ask your heart, what are you afraid of? And then let your heart answer. You can speak it out loud if you would like, or you can just get the message. It's up to you how much you want to share.
Afraid of being broken again.
Okay. Okay. So ask your heart again. What does that look like? Why would knowing your intuitive gifts break you?
It's because anytime I felt like I was trying to use them, somebody shot me down for it.
So you don't want to be a target again, right?
Comes back to that always being told you don't know.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. So now what we're going to do is you are going to enter the conversation. Okay, you yourself. So you have your mind and your heart, and you're going to enter the conversation. Okay, and I want you to give your heart a gift. And the gift that you're going to give your heart is boundaries and permission. Okay, so what that looks like is, okay, we're going to take a look at these intuitive gifts, and I give you permission to not use them for anybody else but me. Okay, so I want you to, I want you to imagine giving that gift to your heart, and what does your heart say? What does your heart feel?
Feels mostly like a positive energy.
Okay, good, 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 good. Now you're gonna tell your heart, you get to choose when, where, and with whom we share these gifts.
Feels good.
Okay, good, good. Now, I want your mind, we're gonna let your mind ask another question. And I want your mind to ask, how do I want to word this? We're just going to ask your heart, like, would knowing my intuitive gifts, would that help us? Is that going to help your heart and your mind and you and everything in your life? Is that going to help?
Yes.
Okay. And now you are going to tell your heart that by knowing your intuitive gifts, you're going to heal the brokenness.
I accept it, but I still feel that little bit of resistance that says, is it really going to happen? Would it really happen?
Mm-hmm. Ask your heart, say, I don't know, should we find out?
Absolutely.
Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so now I want your heart to tell your head, to tell your mind, it's okay now. It's safe to know. Okay. Okay. So your homework is to finish that list without peeking at, I mean, you're going to know what some more are because we're going to go over them today. But like a lot of them you're not going to know. And I invite you to go through the list anyway, because it's safe for you to know. And anytime your mind starts to say, but I don't understand what it is, remind your mind, it's okay. It's safe to know. I don't have to know what it is. I just want to know if I have it. Okay. You
Okay.
feel like you can do that?
Yes.
Good. All right. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing that with us. That
Thank
was
you.
a beautiful service that you did for us as a group, because it's not just for you. You're not the only one experiencing that, okay? Okay. And yeah, the one we're talking, I've got something special for your heart today. As we talk about the gifts, your heart is going to be like, oh, that one, that's the one I need. Okay. So thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Rhonda. Okay. And LaWanda says, sending support and love for you, Rhonda. Okay. Let me read back through these. LaWanda says, I want to increase the percentage of time to use my affinity for money. Yes, you get to do that. Absolutely. And a lot of that is done through attention and awareness. And so all you need to do is place your attention on that, LaWanda. placed your attention on it. Oh, good. Celeste is here and Linda as well. Good. Okay, so yeah, just put your awareness on it and look for that. And Luana, I know you're participating in the abundance channel challenge with me right now. And so that's going to help bring that into your awareness. And the more it's in your awareness, the more you see the opportunities to use that gift. Okay, and then let me read April, and then I'm going back to, and then Kylie, we're going to talk about yours too, okay? April says, got through the list, didn't get back to finish the numbers, drove back to Texas, took up last week. I have a note, there's 5 in Spooky, but I haven't found one of them. Okay, okay. All right, good job. Very good job. So I know Linda and Celeste came in a little bit late. I'm asking if you have finished your homework from the first week. And if not, I want to talk about it and let's clear up some resistance, not in any form of judgment, just if it's coming up for you. Okay, good. Linda said, yes, she finished the homework. Celeste, let me know, because if you haven't and there's any kind of resistance, no matter how it's showing up, we want to be able to clear that. If it's coming up for you, it's coming up for others. Okay, so Kylie says, I got a yes for momentum. However, immediately wanted to write no, then went back and forth on it and struggled with the strength and percentage too. It honestly made me feel sick to my stomach and I don't know why. Okay, and Celeste has not, and it's been crazy. So we're going to talk to Celeste there as well. Also, Eliza says, yes, I did. There are a few that I'm not sure on the accuracy, but I just went with the answers I got. Okay, yeah, Celeste did 2 classes this weekend. Beautiful, very, very fun. I'm not saying that the reasons why you didn't do it are not valid. Also, there is going to be some resistance that we're going to talk about there. Okay. Okay. All right. So Celeste, let me talk to Kylie first, and then we'll talk to you, and then we'll go back to Eliza. Okay. So Kylie, did you want to unmute yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you had yes for momentum.
Yeah.
And then your brain said, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's back this up. Your brain kicked in and started fighting with you, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's go back like we did with Rhonda. What doesn't feel safe, or why would you not want to have momentum? What does that feel like to you?
I guess just because change is hard and change is scary, and yeah, I've had trouble like trying to decide what to focus on lately. And I think that knowing that I have the gift of momentum kind of makes me hold myself accountable to change, because I mean, it's changing for the better and it's heading in a good direction. However, for some reason it's just scary to me. I don't know why.
Yeah. So finish this sentence for me. If I had the gift of momentum, I would have to ... What comes to mind?
Take action on moving towards my goals.
Okay. Let's go a little deeper.
So I think honestly what I struggle with the most is that I don't feel that I have like the time to put in. However, I do, and so I don't know what the holdup is there. I think that like I was journaling about it today, and what I kind of came up with was that I haven't wanted to believe that I had like the capability and experience that I needed in order to be successful. And it's like I know that I do. However, self-doubt and that type of stuff has been something I have always struggled with.
Okay. 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 So, okay. So if you had the gift of momentum, then you would go hurtling towards your goals. You would be making progress in your goals. And are we talking specifically about being a coach, an intuitive coach? Okay. So I want you to imagine, let's just go down that rabbit hole, right? It's like, okay, so I become an intuitive coach, and then I have a session, and like, let's go worst case scenario, right? I have a session and I don't know what I'm doing, and it's this whole crash and burn disaster.
Yeah.
Is that what it feels like?
Yeah. That's a
Okay.
lot of it. And then the other part of it too is not being able to find enough clients.
Okay. So that's a catch-22.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because first of all, if you find a client, you might crash and burn and have this horrible disaster, right? And that one I'm seeing as a two-edged sword as well. It's like it can go like, I'm going to say all the wrong things, and by saying the stuff, it's going to crash and burn and be a disaster. And the flip side of that is that I'm just going to stare at them and have nothing to say. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here you have this crash and burn disaster thing going on the one hand. So it's like, I don't want clients, because if I get clients, then I'm going to have this experience. And then it's like, oh, but I'm not going to be able to find enough clients. And it's like, well, of course not, because you don't want clients.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see that?
Yeah. And it's honestly been going back and forth in my head, like constantly since I finished this list.
Okay. 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 So what would happen if either of those two scenarios happened? What would be the result?
So I feel like if I couldn't find clients, that I guess that I would have to like find a job, and that would entail like not being able to be with my daughter all the time. And I guess that I would feel like I let myself down and I let my family down.
Okay.
And then as far as freezing goes,
Yeah.
I feel like if I were to do that, then that client would like put their bad experience out there, and that what came up as soon as I said that was it would hurt the little chance that I do have at finding clients. However, I know that I don't just have a little chance at it. So I don't know why that
Okay.
came up like that.
Okay. Okay. So if you had a session and it was just this horrible, awful session, okay, and then that person went on all of social media and they told everybody in the world that Kylie is a fake and she sucks and she's horrible, right? Right.
Yeah.
And then it chased away any other possible clients. And so the result would be you would have no clients, right?
Yep.
Okay. Also, if you shut yourself down because you are afraid of that, guess what the result is?
That I'm not gonna get there in the first
But I
place.
have no clients.
Yep.
And so you're actually already creating the result that you fear the most.
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, it's possible. Yes, it's possible. It's always possible that we have those off sessions.
Hmm.
Okay, but honestly, I think that I may have had, I've done a lot of sessions, and maybe 2 of them have been where I walked away from it like, okay, 3 of them actually, and I'll share this with you. And so I was trying to help my son with a problem that he was having. And it was early on when I was doing alignment coaching and learning all of these new skills. And so I told my son, I want to be able to help you with this. Will you let me do this on you? And he's, being my son, said, yeah, sure, Mom. And so I was doing a session on him and he fell asleep. Okay. Which was, no, he said yes because he's my son, but his entire soul was like, no, I am not accepting this. So that was a disastrous one for me. But I would say maybe 2 other sessions that weren't like these complete crash and burn situations, but I left it and I was thinking, that didn't feel great. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And nobody badmouthed me. Nobody did anything like that. It was just a situation that I learned from.
Okay.
Okay. So I feel like what you need, right? You have the gift of momentum and it feels like you have to do these things. I'm giving you permission. You get to have permission with your gifts. Just like with Rhonda, you have permission. You have boundaries with your gifts. And so, yes, you are using momentum and you can choose how to use the gift of momentum. You can choose when and with whom to use the gift of momentum. First and
Okay.
foremost for you personally, okay?
Okay.
And so, number 1, you need to know that you have permission to use the gift of momentum the way you feel inspired to use it. Okay. And number 2 is, have you done exchanges with the light language class?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you actually have proof and evidence that you can do a session without crashing and burning, right?
Well, yeah. And I've even had paid clients like that aren't part of the group.
Okay.
And they were great, amazing sessions.
Okay. Okay. So our brains, our survival brains always go to the worst case scenario in order to protect us and prepare us to continue to survive.
Okay.
And so the way to combat that is to have a book of proof and evidence to the contrary.
Okay.
And so whenever you get into that place of self-doubt and feeling like I can't find clients, I can't do this, I can't, whenever you feel that contraction energy, I want you to think about your past experiences and just get into that feeling of it because it felt really good, huh?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Yes. Yes. So I want you to get into that energy and just be in that. Angie said, okay, so how does that feel for you?
That feels good.
Okay. And trust me that we're going to find the clients for you as you are open. And again, I am totally speaking from experience over the years. Okay. Even an experience that I had with a program that I was not 100% in alignment with, but I felt like I had to do that program again. And I was not getting people who were signing up for the program. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to totally drop the price and then everyone's going to rush in and come and do this program. So I dropped the price. Nobody did the program. And the reason was because I was not open. I want you to understand that. The only reason clients will not come to you is if you are not open to receive them.
Okay.
Your clients are like standing in line waiting for you. They are actively searching to find you. They need you, and they are trying to find you, and the entire universe is working to bring you together.
Okay.
And the only thing that is going to keep you apart is
It's
your
me.
your own personal stuff. And there's no judgment on that. Like I said, we all do it.
Yeah.
It comes up for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just going to continue to work with that and trust that they're going to come. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Thank
How
you.
does that feel?
Good.
Good. Okay, so Angie asks, what if the self-doubt is for something you haven't done yet? Contraction energy without the past experiences as a book of proof. Two things, Angie. Number one, you have a past experience of something similar, something related. For example, right now we're talking about intuitive gifts, but Kylie has experience doing the light language. And so it transfers over. If you're thinking about, for example, your retreat, which is something you haven't done yet, there are other things that you have done in your business that have been wildly successful, that you know that you can do. And so you can draw on that book of proof that I've tried something new before. I leaned into it. I brought my skill set and my inspiration and my gut and all of that to the table, and it turned out really cool. And if it didn't turn out really cool, then I learned from it. I had a great experience of learning from that, right? And so you can expand your view or your definition of what that evidence is, okay? What that book of proof is. So that's one. Number two, another thing that you can do, and this is something that I'm going to be teaching more in depth when I get into the Ascension programs that I am getting ready to launch. And that is the idea of these different timelines. Okay. And let me share with you what my guide said to kind of explain that a little bit. Every moment gives us an opportunity to make a choice. And every choice that we make creates a different timeline. And so, and all of our timelines are happening simultaneously all at once because time is an illusion. It doesn't exist. And so what do I mean by that? Okay, so when I go to the kitchen and I'm ready to make lunch and I open the door and I see pizza, my son brought home pizza, I have a decision to make. Am I going to eat the pizza or am I going to choose something else? And so in one timeline, I eat the pizza. In another timeline, I choose something else. And so you can see how there are multiple possibilities of choices that I can choose just in that one moment, and they all exist at the same time. And so, stick with me if that seems a little confusing. We're going to go further into that as we start playing in the ascension energy a little bit more.
It helps that my son is way into comics because.
Okay. Okay.
That's
So you're kind of feeling into it, right? You kind of understand what's going on there. Okay. So two things that you can do with this. Number one is that you can tap into the timeline of successful you. Okay. So you have a timeline of, you have one timeline of, and is this related to your retreat? Okay, so you have one timeline where you allow self-doubt to get to you, and you and the fears come up and you don't really address them, so they fester inside, and so you have a closed off energy, and so it doesn't work out very well. I mean, and by that, like, you're learning, but it's not as successful as what your dreams are, right? So that's one timeline. Another timeline is that you're able to overcome some of that. So it's kind of successful. Another timeline is like, oh my gosh, it's wildly successful. And so you might not have the proof of it yet, but it already exists. on a timeline. And so through meditation and visualization, you can tap into that timeline and draw it into the present. And it's a lot of what Elisa says about acting as if. What are the choices that that person, that timeline makes to create that success? And then another version of that is just to imagine future you who has already had the retreat and it was wonderful and successful and exactly what you wanted. You can meditate and tap into her and get into her energy and use her experience as your book of proof. Okay, how does that feel?
Good. Thank you. The timeline jumping, all of a sudden that totally resonated because all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's like it exists. Otherwise, I feel like I'm trying to fill a void and I
Yeah.
keep getting sucked back into lower energy.
Mm-hmm.
But this, it's like, oh, it's not a void. It already is there. So just
Yeah.
grab it and pull it into this timeline.
Yes, yes.
See,
yes.
it totally, now I'm gonna have to thank my kids because I'll be like, just go to World 31 and pull.
Yes.
When else watch DC Comics?
Yes, yes, yes,
The
exactly.
Council of Wells in The Flash, they pull
Yes,
the same character
yes.
from all the worlds. Yes.
I love the Flash. So yes, 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 very, very much that. It already exists. You just tap into it. And I think an important thing to remember here also is that no judgment. No judgment. The bad experience is just as gorgeous and beautiful and wonderful as the phenomenal experience, because you are having every experience. And the reason you're having every experience on all these timelines is because everyone is valuable, wonderful, beautiful, and teaching you. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Yes, yes. Yeah, Luana, tap into that. There you guys, you have a little sneak peek at what is coming up as I'm leaning into these new programs. We're going to be diving into these new things. So that's kind of fun and exciting. Eliza, let's do a quick talk. I know I wanted to get into the slideshow here pretty soon, but Eliza, just a quick, if you can unmute, if you're in a space to unmute yourself. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And so you said there are a few, I'm not sure on the accuracy, but I just went with the answers I got. Was that your head telling you, oh, no, there's no way you can have that gift?
Yeah, yeah. Basically.
Okay.
Or things like that I think I may have had as a kid and shut down.
Mhm.
Tested as a no. Like there were ones that I was like, oh, I think, that makes sense. And then I would test a no for it. So it was like, it felt familiar, but like I'd shut it down. And then
Okay.
there are definitely ones that like with the definition my brain had, like especially the spooky ones, like with
Yeah.
what I understand about them right now, my brain was like, no, no. And
Okay.
so those all tested no. And I was just kind of like, there was like resistance there, but I didn't want to dive into it right then. So
Okay. Okay. All right. So number one, open your mind a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to give you just an invitation to journal on those things. Okay. And release the old definitions.
okay.
And you can also muscle test and ask, did I used to have this and I shut it down?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can also muscle test, is it safe for me to have this gift?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's going to give you information, and then you can work through, kind of like what I did with Rhonda today. Work through. Okay, so what am I afraid of? Mind and heart. What's going on here? And then, boundaries and permission. Boundaries and permission. Boundaries and permission. It is safe for you to have all the gifts. Okay, how does that feel for you?
Better, like, okay. I think that the whole concept of like, I can have this gift and I don't have to share it with anybody else. Like, it
Yeah.
can be just for me, because there's like a lot of fear of judgment from like my parents and stuff getting into the spookier ones, because
Mhm.
they're very conservative Christian people, and that would really freak them out. And so I have this whole like, I'm just trying to figure out like being authentic with them, but also knowing like I don't need to share this part of me with them,
Right.
like, to keep myself safe.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And then also understand that it's a question of language, right?
Okay.
Because you were triggered by the language of it.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I said, does your husband sometimes read your thoughts? You'd be like, yeah. Do your parents read each other's thoughts all the time?
Yeah, my husband and I, we joke all the time that we have like the same brain. 'Cause
Okay.
we'll say the same exact thing at the same time, like the same movie quote will come into our head at the same time, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
or the
So
same song. Yeah.
yeah. So if you tell your mom, hey mom, I've got telepathy, then they're gonna be like, oh, but if it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we read each other's minds all the time, that whole thing of we finish each other's sentences, we have the same brain. There are different ways of sharing that information. Again, when you feel called to share, you don't have to share, right? And with them being very spiritual and Christian and that sort of thing, they understand spiritual gifts. They don't need to know the details anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Also, lean in. Spooky ones are fun and and it's safe, but we'll get there, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank
Does
you.
that feel good?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. April says, yes, there's a spooky one hiding from me. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's emerging, but I don't understand what it is yet. So it hasn't clicked yet. Yeah. So when we get to the spooky gifts one, we're all just going to choose to lean into that. We're going to lean into that. Okay. Okay. So it's 6:50 now. That, oh, and Luana says, what do you mean by spooky? I don't think that, did I keep it as spooky gifts? I meant to change that. Okay. That's what my mentor called it, but I feel that it's higher dimensional gifts.
I see it now. It is on here as spooky.
All right, I'm going to change that to higher dimensional gifts because that's more in alignment with my language.
Okay,
That
thanks.
was
I
my
get it now.
mentor's way of categorizing it, and I just don't think they're spooky. So I will fix that. Yeah, projection or by location. Okay. All right, let's take a 5-minute break and then we're going. Okay, so Sean's doesn't have spooky on it, which means I probably changed it. So, and April says, I did get a cool insight on telekinesis. I can think of things and they still brought to me or my life where I need them. Perfect. Okay. All right. 5-minute break. It's 6:50. We'll come back at 6:55. I do want to get through the slideshow. And then we're going to do, we'll do the a power session with Sean. Sean's going to be our demo today. Okay, so let's do that. And I'm calling in my time angel so that so that everything happens exactly the way it needs to. All right, so 5 minutes and we'll be back here at 6:55.